Welcome, everyone, once again, and thank you for joining us in this eighth session in our ongoing series, Deadline or Death Sentence, State Violence and Adivasi Indigenous Peoples' Resistance in India. My name is Lotika Singha, and I speak on behalf of International Solidarity for Academic Freedom in India, or INSAF India for short. So we are very honored to have with us today Chantal Meloni. She's Professor of International Criminal Law at the University of Milan, Italy, and Senior Legal Advisor in International Crimes and Accountability at the European Center for Constitutional and Human Rights in Berlin. And we also have with us Kalika Mehta, legal researcher at the Center for Reflexive Globalization and the Law, or REFLEX, at Humboldt University, also in Berlin. Since we are resuming after a break of nearly 2 months, I'll just briefly situate today's session within the broader trajectory of this series. The series has been organized by diaspora networks in solidarity with the Adivasi indigenous people struggles in the mineral-rich forest regions of central and eastern India. Across earlier sessions, we have critically examined the Indian state's repeated declarations, most notably by Home Minister Amit Shah, that by 31st March 2026, India will be rendered Maoist-free. The Indian state has openly stated that this deadline is being pursued through intensified militarization, particularly in the Bastar Division of the state of Chhattisgarh in central India, producing an unprecedented scale of deaths and violence. These include reports of aerial bombings in a region where independent scrutiny and accountability are effectively absent. The extent and forms of this violence have been discussed in depth in our previous sessions. What I'll just recap here is that what we see in Bastar is not episodic violence, but a long-standing condition. For more than 2 decades, Bastar has been subjected to sustained militarized violence and counterinsurgency operations by the Indian state, which have intensified since the mid-2000s. Bastar has become one of the most heavily militarized regions in the world, with some estimates indicating a security personnel to civilian ratio of approximately 1:8 now. This underscores the scale of force that is deployed against a largely indigenous people's civilian population. Over these 2 decades, this violence has resulted in thousands of deaths, repeated massacres, widespread sexual violence, mass incarceration, torture, and the large-scale displacement of the Adivasi indigenous peoples' communities. Domestically, this violence has been carried out by security forces through counterinsurgency operations that have effectively transformed the region into a war zone. Yet, internationally, the Indian state has consistently characterized the situation as nothing more than a law and order problem. This is not semantic. It is legal, strategic, and deeply consequential. As a result, Bastar has never been formally recognized as an armed conflict. This has enabled the Indian state to exclude itself from international humanitarian obligations and to avoid scrutiny for conduct that would otherwise raise serious questions of war crimes and international responsibility. Compounding this is a domestic legal framework that is fundamentally ill-equipped to address mass organized crimes committed by the state. Indian law offers no language for mass crimes, no framework for collective or command responsibility, and no mechanisms capable for grappling with violence carried out at this scale. The result is predictable. Accountability is not merely difficult, it is structurally foreclosed. This problem is not limited to formally militarized regions. Even in ostensibly non-militarized urban contexts, such as in the February 2020 pogrom in Northeast Delhi, where scores of Muslims were killed amid clear evidence of political signaling and police complicity, mass violence unfolded through coordination, deliberate inaction, and the shielding of those most responsible. In today's session, we engage with certain international legal frameworks while fully aware of their limits. What we are witnessing in Palestine and in other contexts, such as Venezuela, make it clear that international law is neither consistently applied nor sufficient on its own to prevent mass violence or guarantee accountability. These failures can be real and visible. However, the purpose of today's discussion is to confront the profound inadequacies of India's domestic legal framework The lack of language for mass crimes, the lack of framework for collective or command responsibility, and no recognition of situations such as the ongoing war in Bastar. In this context, international legal frameworks remain important tools for identifying the legal gaps that enable impunity and for thinking beyond a system that has repeatedly failed affected communities. This need has been acknowledged even within the Indian judiciary. In 2018, in his judgment on the 1984 Sikh massacre cases, Justice S. Muralidhar observed that cases of mass crimes required a different approach and that much can be learned from comparable experiences elsewhere. He pointed to the absence in Indian criminal law of categories such as crimes against humanity and genocide, identifying this as a serious legal gap. Several years on, that this gap remains entirely unaddressed. It is against this background that today's session becomes urgent to ask what becomes possible when we use these frameworks to name what domestic law refuses to recognize and to confront how legal denial itself functions as a mechanism of state violence. With that, I now invite Professor Chantal Meloni to speak on the doctrine of command responsibility under international criminal law. Over to you, Chantal. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lotika, for this invitation, and to my colleague and friend Kalika Mehta, who put us in touch. So I'm really glad to have this opportunity to speak to you today. Yes, as you already said, I'm going to talk about a very specific mode of liability, so criteria to attribute responsibility for international crimes. And I have a PowerPoint presentation with me that I will now try to share with you. So just give me 1 second. Okay. So what we are going to talk today is a very specific, as I was saying, mode of liability in international criminal law, which is called command responsibility in the common way to refer to it. Although, as we will see, it would be more correct to speak about superior responsibility because it doesn't have to do only with military commanders. I have spent quite a lot of years studying this mode of liability because this was the of my studies during the PhD, so almost 20 years ago. And I have published an entire book on this mode of liability, which indeed presents a very complicated legal framework from the point of view of criminal law. And as Lotika was introducing, I understand that in India, you don't have a legislation that is implementing international crimes into the domestic system. And of course, many countries in the meantime do have such a legislation and do have the category of war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide, aggression in their own legislation. And another country that doesn't have it, like India, is Italy, my country, where I come from. So I understand the problem very well, having been actively also involved in the past years in extensive efforts to domesticate international criminal law in the Italian legal system. And now, without, of course, speaking about my own country, but what I can tell you is that this mode of liability that we are talking about is indeed one of the most difficult parts, because it is something that is really a creation of international law that comes from the military field. And so unless a state decides to adopt this kind of legislation, it's not going to be present in your domestic legal framework. But our point of departure for the seminar of today is to analyze how command responsibility fits into the broader picture of attribution of responsibility for international crimes, and in particular under the regime that is the Rome Statute that has, as you know, has been adopted as a treaty in order to create the International Criminal Court. And again, India is not a party to the Rome Statute, but a lot of what is written there is by now recognized as customary law, so something that goes beyond the validity of what is the treaty, but can be applied also in situations that are happening in countries that are actually outside of the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court as such. So if we want to speak about this mode of liability, command responsibility, or better said, superior responsibility, our starting point at the moment is the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. And in this statute, there are at least two provisions that are dealing with attribution of responsibility to the individuals. One of them is this Article 25(3), and the other one is Article 28. And this Article 28 specifically that I will refer to is the source for the specific criteria, command responsibility of attribution of responsibility to the superiors, to the commanders. So what I want to say is that we have to imagine that this very specific mode of liability is a part, just one of the pieces of a bigger puzzle, which of course is composed also by other criteria: the commission of a crime, instigating a crime, assisting the commission of a crime, ordering a crime. And all these other criteria are, of course, also of relevance for war crimes or crimes against humanity, also with regard to the specific context that you are talking about in India. But we today focus specifically on this one that has to do with the responsibility of the superiors or the commanders. And why do we do that? Because this is a very important criteria in order to, so to say, expand the responsibility to the upper echelons for the commission of crimes committed by subordinates, by, for instance, the soldiers or de facto fighters. Can be many different situations, as we will see. And what needs to be immediately said is that it's not about giving orders and so being responsible as a superior for the crimes committed by the subordinates in pursuance of orders that have been received, but rather this is a form of responsibility that has to do with not having done something as a commander, which means that there is an omission, a failure to act, a failure to prevent, a failure to control the soldiers and stop the commission of the crimes. And now we will specify better what are the elements of this liability. But as you already see in this slide, the bottom line is that superiors or commanders can be responsible for the crimes committed by their subordinates if they have not taken the proper control, prevention, and punishment measures in order to prevent and punish these crimes. So I was telling you that this is a very technical mode of liability that doesn't exist in, let's say, most, virtually almost any criminal law at the domestic level. It is really a creation of international criminal law, and it has an origin that we find in the military manuals. So in the military codes, already very ancient codes, even there are some examples of Chinese military codes 500 years before Christ, that they already mentioned in a very let's say prodromic way, in a rough language, the same idea that the commander is responsible for the unlawful behavior of his or her troops. And this idea that the military commander is responsible not only for what he or she ordered, so the crimes that have been ordered, but also for what he or she omitted to prevent and punish, has a long development, as I was saying, in the military sphere, but at a certain point was translated into international humanitarian law instruments. And we will see these more specifically, in particular with regard to those instruments that are at the heart of international humanitarian law. I don't know how much you know about international and humanitarian law, basically the Geneva Conventions, right? That are the instruments that regulate what is an armed conflict. So you also talk about it, I guess, after with Kalika, armed conflict of what nature, and what are the rules applying to the armed conflicts. So from the military context at the domestic level, this mode of liability went into international humanitarian law, in the regulation of armed conflicts at the international level. And the idea behind it is that this is a tool used by international law to reinforce the protection of civilians in the first place, but in general, everyone who is affected by the existence of an armed conflict, to enhance their protection, making a person that is in a position of control, of command and control, responsible for the behavior of the soldiers, of the troops. And as we will see, also this now applies to the civilian superiors. So when is this mode of liability needed? You can observe that when there is enough evidence for the commission of a crime, this mode of liability probably is not so much needed, because if there is already proof of active commission by a commander, you don't need probably to go into the long and difficult process of proving that there was a culpable omission. And also, it is stronger to claim that someone committed a crime directly rather than say that someone failed to prevent a crime. So this mode of liability is needed in particular when there is no evidence of a direct commission of the crimes, where there is no evidence that, for instance, a commander or a superior ordered the commission of the crimes. But still, there is a clear link between the commission of the crimes by the subordinates and the superior, because it is clear that the superior could and should have prevented these crimes and didn't do it. And a different question is whether he didn't or she didn't do it intentionally or negligently, but let's first go step by step. So as I said, please ask if there are things that are not clear. I gave you a very broad outline of what we are going to talk about. And now going step by step into the various main, let's say, developments of this doctrine. And again, without wanting to repeat myself too much, I just think that it is important to note that this is a very, very ancient doctrine. As I mentioned, even 2,500 years ago, there were already some examples of military manuals that were basically defining this kind of responsibility. But the first time that this doctrine, command responsibility, was used in an international criminal trial after the Second World War, and in particular with regard to the responsibility of a Japanese general whose name was Yamashita. And Yamashita was convicted for crimes committed by his troops during the Second World War in Japan, as we will see, not for something that he personally ordered, but for something that he failed to prevent. And then the first codifications of this doctrine still have to wait. We still have to wait some time because the first examples are only in 1977. With the additional protocols to the Geneva Conventions. As you will see, I guess also with Kalika later, the Geneva Conventions are dated 1949, so the main bulk of them regulating the armed conflict, but there was nothing there about command responsibility. The first codification is a bit later in 77. And then this mode of liability was used in front of the international criminal tribunals that were established in the 19th, International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia and for Rwanda, 1993, 1994. And there is a lot of jurisprudence, case law there about this. So this is a picture of General Tomoyuki Yamashita that I was mentioning, the Japanese general that was sentenced and convicted, and executed, was sentenced to death for the crimes committed by the Japanese army during, in particular, the Second World War, in the invasion of Malaya and Singapore. So his troops were accused of very grave war crimes, horrible crimes in the Philippines, in particular during the part of the conflict in 1944. And Yamashita, again, it's a very interesting story for those of you who are interested, but I will go very quickly, was found responsible not because he ordered, as I said, but because he failed to prevent the crimes committed by the Japanese army in that context. He had a defense lawyer, of course, like everyone during those trials. And in particular, his defense lawyer, that was a colonel in the US Army, contested very strongly this mode of liability that was considered to be the basis of the responsibility of Yamashita, finding that the accused was convicted to death not because he did something, but because he was someone someone in charge, right? The commander. And that it would be absurd that someone like the commanding general of an American occupational force, as you see here, the quote, becomes criminal every time an American soldier violates the law. One man is not held to answer for the crime of another. So this precedent of Yamashita indeed created some problems at the time. Not everyone, sorry, I trying to go back. Yes, not everyone was in agreement, not at all, with this new mode of liability. At the time, it was very criticized that someone could be responsible, indeed, like Yamashita, on the basis of a failure to act, especially because, and at the time it was stressed by the defense that Yamashita was not present on the field where his troops were committing these atrocious crimes. But on the other hand, what the prosecutor, what the accused managed to prove is that the Japanese troops were not properly disciplined. They were given most probably like free hands, at least free hands, to commit atrocious crimes. And there was, in between the lines of the judgment, a recognition that even if they didn't have the actual proof, the evidence of the orders being given by the General Yamashita, what the jury, what the judges believed is that there had been some secret orders, or at least a system that allowed the systematic commission of these crimes in the Philippines. And it is on the basis of this, in the end, of this being convinced that the system of crimes was authorized, if not ordered, at the highest levels that Yamashita was convicted. So again, something that I already mentioned, we find the first codification of this in 1977 in this specific article, 86, paragraph 2 of Additional Protocol 1. This is an instrument that is specific to international armed conflicts. So this is a rule that originally applied only to international armed conflicts. This is not anymore the case. Now command responsibility can apply also to non-international armed conflicts, but you need at least to have an armed conflict in order to become relevant. So what this article is basically telling us is, as you see, that if there is a war crime, basically, committed by a soldier, the superior might also be responsible for this war crime under penal or disciplinary responsibility if the superior knew that the subordinate was committing or was going to commit the war crime, and the superior did not take all feasible measures within their power to prevent or repress the breach, meaning the war crime. And this became even more explicit then in the articles that are contained in the two ad hoc tribunals that I already mentioned before, the International Criminal Tribunal for former Yugoslavia and the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, created by the UN in 1993 and 1994, where basically there is a very similar definition to the one that we have just seen. But here it specifies very clearly that we are talking about criminal responsibility. Of course, we are in front of criminal tribunals, so it's only a kind of criminal responsibility. It's not anymore about disciplinary responsibility. And many cases were brought in front of both tribunals on the basis of this command responsibility or superior responsibility, where war crimes committed in the context of the former Yugoslavia war or during the genocide in Rwanda in 1994 were also attributed to the superiors, to the commanders, also politicians, on the basis of this mode of liability. So not for what the commander did, but for the failure to prevent these crimes. And this brings us quickly to what I said is the actual source today of the law regulating command or superior responsibility, which is to be found in the statute of the International Criminal Court and specifically in Article 28. This is a very complex article. I'm not going into the details of it, and I'm not even going to read it all. Those of you who are specifically interested in understanding it, of course, are encouraged to go and read Article 28 of the Rome Statute. But I will try to just give you an overlook a little bit lighter. So, first of all, this is an article that starts by saying, as you see in the yellow sentence, in addition to other grounds of responsibility. So why is this important? Because it makes us understand that this is an additional criteria to establish responsibility that comes next to what are the usual criteria to establish responsibility: commission, instigation, ordering, aiding and abetting. So the usual criteria for committing crimes, war crimes in particular. And this article under the Rome Statute is divided in two. There is a first letter, A, which clearly applies to military superiors or de facto military commanders. And the second part, letter B, applies to non-military commanders, meaning political, civil superiors. And this is the very first time that we have an instrument in international criminal law that is codifying these criteria of responsibility for non-military commanders. As I said, during the years of ICTY and ICTR, there was already case law that was convicting politicians or other civilian leaders for the crimes committed by soldiers or other subordinates. But this is the first time that we have a written law on that. So that is written black on white, that also non-military commanders can be responsible if they failed to prevent or punish the crimes of the subordinates. What is important, of course, is that there are very strict criteria in order to come to this conclusion. So, of course, criminal responsibility is not something that is established lightly, especially if we are talking about international crimes, war crimes, crimes against humanity. So there must be a number of elements of conditions for the superior to be considered responsible for the crimes committed by others. In the first place, there must be a relationship, a hierarchical relationship, a superior-subordinate relationship. So if we are talking about superior and subordinate, it's self-evident, right? We are talking about individuals that are in two different places in a scale of command. Then there must be something that in criminal law we call the mental element. So the person in a position of superiority hierarchically must know, or at least must have culpably not known that the subordinates were committing the crimes or were about to commit the crimes. And finally, the conduct, right? So the superior must have failed to take the necessary and reasonable measures to prevent the commission of the crimes. So here we find some important indications about what needs to be proven in a possible criminal trial in order to consider someone responsible for the war crimes committed by others. I'm saying war crimes, but what I mean is actually war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide, and aggression. So in the first place, the first element, this relationship, what does it mean? Again, I will not go into the details. I understand we don't want to become too technical, but just to give some concreteness to this idea, right, of what is a superior-subordinate relationship. In the jurisprudence, in the case law of international criminal tribunals, this has been defined as a position where a person exercises effective control over someone else. So there must be this concept of effective control. And indeed, this is the heart of the doctrine of command responsibility. Someone is responsible for the crimes committed by someone else exactly because that person had effective control and didn't exercise this effective control as they should have done. And there is a legal obligation with regard to military commanders to exercise this effective control in a way that should prevent and punish the commission of the crimes. It doesn't need to be a formal structure of command. It can be de facto, it can be factual. For instance, in the former Yugoslavia, the whole structure of hierarchy, also of the military, had collapsed. There were de facto chains of authority and command. This is enough, but it's absolutely necessary that there is indeed this possibility to control, to exercise the effective control, and this control has been omitted. And then, as I said, and this is a general rule in general in criminal law, which also applies to international criminal law, no one can be held responsible for crimes committed by others unless there is a personal, at least negligence from on the side of the superior. So, of course, it can also be intentional. It can also be like this is what the judges in the Japanese trial, in the Yamashita trial, thought. Yamashita wanted those crimes to be committed, right? Even if we don't have proof of orders. So this is the same here. Basically, it is recognized that it might be that the commander or the superior knows that these crimes are going to be committed and on purpose fails to prevent them. But it can also be that the commander doesn't really want or intentionally has as a goal the commission of these crimes, but still negligently fails to stop the subordinates. So and therefore fails to prevent the commission of these crimes. Or at least if the commander gets to know too late about the commission of the crimes, he or she has to take measure to punish these crimes. If a superior fails to punish the subordinates after he or she learns about the commission of the crimes, this is taken as an element to attribute responsibility, because in a way it means that there is, like a condoning. Acquiescence is also called in criminal law. So meaning that the superior basically accepts and maybe even shares the commission of crimes by the subordinates and by the others that have a subordinated position. So yeah, as we said, there are these two levels of duty to take. In the first place, preventive measures. So in the first place, what the law requires to do is that if someone is a commander, is in a position of effective control, the first duty is to control the troops, to control the soldiers, that they don't commit the crimes at all. Preventive. In case this duty to prevent cannot be fulfilled in good faith, then at least there must be punishment. And if a superior fails to punish, again, makes himself, herself responsible. Of course, the law never obliged anyone to make the impossible and then consider someone responsible for not having made the impossible. So the law always specifies that these measures have to be reasonable, necessary on the one hand, but also reasonable, which means that there will be then an assessment of what was possible to do and what was not possible. But everything that is in the hands of the superior or the commander and that was possible should be done to prevent and or punish the crimes. So the last two slides, I just want to give you a very broad idea of where we are with the application of this doctrine in international criminal law. And because the other ad hoc tribunals closed, and now they are not active anymore. So the main, as you know, court that is applying international criminal law is the International Criminal Court, the ICC in The Hague. And so far, I must say that the application of this doctrine under Article 28 of the Rome Statute by the ICC judges has been very unsatisfactory. Very unsatisfactory because, well, basically we don't have any successful conviction before the ICC based on Article 28. There was a very important case that was Bemba Gombo, who had been convicted in the first instance in trial for crimes, war crimes, including also crimes including sexual violence committed by his soldiers. But his conviction was overturned in appeal. And specifically with regard to the application of this Article 28, the interpretation of the judges of the appeals court of the ICC shows how difficult it is, or at least how difficult the judges are making the use of this doctrine with regard to the responsibility for the commission of like war crimes, like, as I said, sexual violence, with regard to commanders. So it's a very complex mode of liability that apparently the judges haven't yet really managed to fully understand in its elements. For instance, one of the elements that is not even today, it's not clear in the judicial interpretation is whether it is needed that there is a causal nexus between the failure by the commander and the commission of the crimes. I try to translate, in other words, what causal nexus means in criminal law. Basically, the question is it necessary to prove that the omission, the failure by the commander was the cause? So without that failure, the crime would not have been committed by the subordinates? Yes or not? Is this an element that the prosecution needs to prove? How much was the superior supposed to know in order to make the superior liable? And did the superior have to share the same criminal intent? For instance, let's imagine a case of genocide. Does a superior need to want that the group is destroyed? In case of war crimes, does he want that civilians are intentionally targeted in order to be responsible for those specific crimes? Or is it enough to know generically that the subordinates are committing crimes? So the case law seems to be very confused still in this regard. And this is my last point, that lately, in the last 2-3 years, we have seen that in some of the most important warrants of arrests that have been issued by the ICC, Article 28, so superior responsibility, is included in the modes of liability. So I'm talking about the two warrants, one for Russian President Putin and the other one for the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. As you know, both of them are sitting heads of state and of government, and they have been reached by warrants of arrest by the ICC, in one case for the commission of war crimes, of forcibly transferring children, basically, Putin, and in the case of Netanyahu and the former defense minister Gallant, also some very grave war crimes like starvation or intentional targeting of civilians, but also crimes against humanity. And specifically in this warrant of arrest for Netanyahu, I find it interesting, while both Netanyahu and Gallant, that their criminal responsibility is also considered under Article 28 as civilian superiors, in particular for the war crime of intentionally directing attacks against the civilian population. We don't have access to decisions, to the warrants. They have not been published. We only have the press release that was published by the court. So I don't have too many details. But what you understand here is that the court, the prosecutor apparently didn't have evidence that Netanyahu himself or Gallant himself gave the order, right, to attack civilians, but still they consider them responsible for not having done everything in their power to prevent or punish the commission of these crimes. So here I conclude. I would stop sharing this presentation, and I am aware that it's a complicated topic, but yes, I still think it's one of the most important topics in international criminal law, and in particular when we talk about war crimes and the commission of yes, grave violations against civilians in the context of armed conflict. And so it is worth understanding how this could be used also in your domestic environment in order to make some cases with regard to specific responsibility of high-ranking people.
Thank you so much, Chantal. Absolutely agree. And thank you so much again for that rigorous and it is complicated, but there was a start to a clarification for us, very much so in that presentation of which you have shared with us today. And you've shown us why the doctrine of command responsibility is indispensable in contexts of large-scale and systemic violence, when harm is not the result of isolated acts, but organized structures, chains of command, and the patterns of omission as much of commission. And you've kind of helped us to start seeing how this doctrine shifts the focus from individual perpetrators alone to the questions of effective control, knowledge, failure to act, enabling responsibility to be traced to those who have the authority and the legal obligation to prevent crimes or punish those responsible, whether there is absolutely clear evidence or not. So thank you once again. And we have quite a few questions right now. I'll start actually with what the point on what you said in the end, actually, about how can we use these things. So, we're thinking of civil society in particular. What practical role can civil society play when command responsibility is not recognized in domestic law, especially when prosecutions seem unlikely? Do you know in what happens in countries? What have lawyers, activists, or survivors groups actually done to push command responsibility into public debates or legal reform? Are there any examples where civil society documentation or advocacy would have laid the groundwork for command responsibility cases years later? And I think there's a linked question is that if you were advising civil society, say in a country like India, which doesn't have all this, what would be the first realistic step towards introducing or advocating for this operationalizing command responsibility? Would it be legal reform? What was strategic litigation or something else?
Mhm. Yeah, not an easy question, but indeed it's something that I have been dealing with also personally, as I said at the beginning, also in my domestic context, which is Italy. We are still left without an appropriate legislation on the point. But in general, and this is common, I understand, to the situation in India, we don't have the substantive legislation regarding international crimes. So this is, of course, the main problem. But maybe your situation in India, it's a bit more complicated because at least in Italy, we are a state party, right, of the ICC, and this gives an additional obligation to the state, at least in theory, to have appropriate legal framework. And my first answer would be that in the absence of such an appropriate legal framework, even the complementarity principle, which could one day become relevant in front of the ICC if a case would arise that has to do with responsibilities for commission of crimes in Italy by Italians, for instance. This would affect, of course, the absence of proper legislation would affect negatively the decision on complementarity. But if the state is outside of the reach of the jurisdiction of the court, this is an additional problem because you don't even have that kind of push. And very honestly, with regard to command responsibility, while some of the principles behind it might be seen as customary law, at least I would say the part that has to do with the military responsibility of the commanders, it's not clear today that the superior responsibility for non-military commanders is really customary law. So it is really a problem when the state fails to adopt proper legislation and there is not enough pressure that can be exercised because the international legal framework is there but has no there are no leverages, right? So I'm not sure which I guess India is a common law country, right? I guess.
Kalika, can you help with that?
Yes, indeed. Yes.
So of course, this makes a very big difference to Italy, where we need a positive normative framework in order to for a doctrine to be implemented. A judge could never apply international law directly into the Italian system unless there is a law that translates it into domestic criminal law. And I don't know if this is valid. Maybe you can ask this question later to Kalika.
Yeah, thank you so much. That is very helpful. We see this webinar especially as a yeah, just helping us think through things. And there is a kind of related question, taking this a little bit. I mean, adding one more thing in this, I think that if I just read out the question, then in India, laws relating to the military and paramilitary, as well as the general criminal law, including the new criminal procedure code, generally include a provision called sanction to prosecute. This means that public servants, including military and paramilitary officials, cannot be prosecuted without the central government's permission, making it extremely difficult to do so. So if the government doesn't sanction, yeah, it's not going to, the court can't do it. So this is kind of an additional limitation to this legislating command responsibility in India, and the person is asking whether they're understanding this problem correctly. That is this an additional limitation, or do you see this quite commonly?
Well, in general, the topic of the responsibility of military leaders or political leaders for the commission of crimes is very much linked with the issue of immunity, which I understand is, by the way, what the person that posed the question is basically talking about, because the immunity is what prevents someone in a high level position or that has an official position as a state official or so to be prosecuted, right? So this is what we call immunity. And in every country, there are different rules about immunity that have to do with decisions that are taken at the political level in a particular historical moment. So the rules also on immunity can change according to what the parliament decides in that moment. So it's a very complicated issue at the international level. It is clear that in front of international courts, international criminal courts, immunities for the commission of international crimes are not recognized anymore. So while at the international level, it's possible even as I've mentioned, right? We have warrants of arrest against
Yeah.
Netanyahu and Putin. This is still something that is at the national level difficult to do. And yeah, it's very intertwined in general with everything that has to do with the responsibility of leaders, of high level or politicians or military commanders.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take one more question and then we can see what the time is like. So this is, if a superior punishes the subordinate under their command, does this enable the subordinate to be sacrificed, having committed the original crime, which serves the objective of the commander?
Yeah, international law doesn't see it as a sacrifice of the subordinate, but since the times of Nuremberg, Second World War, again, there is a principle that has been established that following orders, when these orders are unlawful and they basically have as a consequence the commission of an international crime, again, war crime, crimes against humanity, genocide, or aggression in theory, these orders do not represent a valid excuse for the subordinate for having committed these crimes. So, which means that subordinates, including soldiers, have a duty for the opposite, to disobey orders when these orders are unlawful. And again, this is an issue that is very contested, problematic. There are different doctrines behind it. And if we take the ICC statute again as a reference point, we can see that, for instance, the ICC statute decided for a compromise on the issue. So where it says clearly that orders to commit crimes against humanity and genocide are always unlawful. So they can never exculpate a subordinate that has acted pursuant to the orders. But orders to commit a war crime can, under the Rome Statute, become relevant as a justification or an excuse at least for the subordinate if, and there are three conditions. One, the order was binding. Two, the soldier, or the subordinate, didn't know that the order was unlawful. And three, the order was not manifestly unlawful. So if these three conditions apply, binding order, person didn't know it was unlawful, the order was not manifestly unlawful, then that can be that the soldier, in a hypothesis that committed the war crime, obeying an order, is exculpated. But otherwise, the rule is that also the person who obeyed the unlawful order and therefore committed an international crime is responsible for it.
Thank you once again very much for the insights that you've shared with us today. They will really help us in what we are trying to do through this series. And please feel free to leave anytime you want to now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Have a nice continuation. And Kalika, again, thank you for putting us in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chantal, for coming. Thank you so much.
Bye. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I will now invite you, yes, Kalika, thank you for coming on, to take us through the legal framework and criteria for identifying when a situation of sustained internal violence qualifies as a non-international armed conflict under international humanitarian law. Your intervention will help us clarify how such classifications are made, the obligations that flow from them, and why states so often resist recognizing conflicts that would otherwise subject their conduct to international humanitarian scrutiny. So thank you. Over to you, Kalika.
Thank you very much, Lotika, and thank you to INSAF India and other friends for organizing this very important webinar series, and then especially on this topic, and for the invitation to speak. As you mentioned already, I will use my time here to address two issues. I know you invited me to talk particularly about the classification of armed conflict, but I think I would like to talk about two issues more broadly. First, I want to address the role of that international law plays in the protection of human rights. So not only in Bastar and other parts of India, but just more generally. And then I will turn to the classification of internal violence within a state and how does that work as an armed conflict under international humanitarian law? What kind of implications and result such a classification can have in how we understand the rights of those affected by the violence. So the duty of the state and accountability and overall conduct of the parties that are involved. So let me begin with the question that I assume it's already forming in the minds of most of you who joined today, who tuned in for the webinar, who saw the poster when it went out. What is the point of talking about international law? Particularly these days, if we look at international headlines from just the last 2 or 3 weeks, we don't even have to go longer. The events in Venezuela, where their president was abducted in broad daylight by another country, or Trump's threats to invade a European country, Greenland, or the large-scale violence that has been going on in Palestine and many other parts of the world, including India. So if we look at all of this, it seems obvious that international law, a law that regulates the conduct of states, is not very effective in preventing or stopping such violations. So therefore, it becomes quite easy to conclude that international law has lost its relevance. Why should we bother even to talk about and organize a webinar like this on accountability under international legal frameworks? And then even more specifically, what does command responsibility got to do with it, and what's non-international armed conflict? Why talk about international law as such? And I think this question becomes all the more relevant if we come closer to home and consider the role of international law that it plays in India, particularly in relation to human rights and international crimes. There is a widespread perception that it is a Western tool. It is a colonial liberal legal framework that is used very selectively by powerful states to discipline others, formerly colonized, weaker states. And this is a position that Indian government for sure frequently takes, but that's also something that civil society actors I've seen also adopt that critique. To an extent, or to a large extent, I would say this critique is not incorrect. International law has historically been shaped by Western liberal ideas of governance, of development, of what is rights, who decide what rights going to be. So from this perspective, if we take state sovereignty seriously, which our independence movement fought really long and hard for, then we should trust our domestic institutions to resolve matters internally. However, at this point, I would suggest that we pause and take just one step back and look at the larger picture. Just 2 days ago, there were headlines about an European Union delegation in India to finalize what has been described as the mother of all deals, one of the most far-reaching free trade agreements that India has ever entered with European Union, which is a body made of 27 European countries. And this agreement will significantly shape economic and political relations between India and all the EU countries. It will affect not only businesses, but also consumers like you and me in very small and big ways. So from everyday commodities like tea and coffee and cooking oil to industrial components like air and spacecrafts. So these trade agreements are also framed and governed and enforced through international law. So that is international law as well. And in the commentary surrounding this deal so far, we did not see any concerns being raised about Western influence. We did not see any threats to Indian sovereignty. It is not all international law that is dismissed. It is some frameworks that are embraced and celebrated, and then there are some that are dismissed for being external influence. And this selective invocation of sovereignty is something that's worth paying attention to and challenging. We live in a deeply globalized world. States cannot exist in isolation. They rely on partnerships, and not just economic partnerships. They rely on political partnerships. They rely on goodwill. They rely on alliances to function within this global economy. So these relationships, economic, whether political or strategic, they are structured through international law. And whether one is comfortable with it or not, international law is already very embedded in our lives and in also just how the states operate. So there is quite simply, let's admit it, no opting out of international law. Now, this brings me to international human rights law, humanitarian law, and criminal law, the so-called threats to our sovereignty. And let me be clear, I'm not presenting these frameworks as emancipatory or like liberatory projects that will solve internal problems, deep, long-standing political problems and social problems. These frameworks have big weaknesses and limitations. And I must admit, a lot of my own work is dedicated to examining how there are colonial legacies still present in the current international legal order. But at the same time, there is another way of approaching international law, and that is to look at it as an additional infrastructure. It doesn't replace anything. It's an additional legal normative framework through which we can frame our injustices, through which we can articulate our demands for accountability in an additional way. Then what cannot be denied is that it is a powerful language. And when used carefully and rigorously, it allows us to frame violations in ways that activate specific duties, specific responsibilities, and consequences, hopefully. Let's take the case of Palestine, which illustrates this very clearly. Like, it is one thing to say that over 70,000 people have been killed in the last couple of years, and that number that's almost impossible to imagine and comprehend what that means. It is something else to say that what happened there is a genocide. Even if the rules are being violated now, at some point, states collectively agreed that genocide triggers particular kind of obligations, not only on the state committing it, but also on other states. So duties to prevent, to punish, and to not support. Using that legal language is not merely symbolic, it is a way of reminding actors to fulfill the commitments that they may themselves helped establish. And आज के ज़माने में, if I can switch to Hindi for a second, आज के ज़माने में इंटरनेशनल लॉ की भाषा एक ऐसी भाषा बन गई है जो जो महत्वपूर्ण है राजनीतिक टर्म्स में, और उसका कानूनी वजन है। उस भाषा का इस्तेमाल ना करना अपनी बात रखने के लिए किसी के भी हित में नहीं है। And of course, this language alone will not resolve global violence, but it makes certain kinds of harms more visible and keeps them on the international agenda. And we know that our states worry about international reputation a lot. So, one final point I will make on this issue is that the politics of international law itself. So, the Indian state's selective engagement with it also. India has long historically advocated for an international treaty on terrorism, prohibition of terrorism, punishment, and such. And at the same time, it has not ratified the Convention Against Torture and not accepted the jurisdiction of individual complaints procedures, which come with core human rights treaties. Procedures that would provide Indian citizens with additional avenues for accountability at the international level. If we limit ourselves to repeating the argument that international law is merely a Western imposition, we also miss the strategic choices that our state makes regarding which obligations it is willing to accept and which it resists. And these choices have impact on the rights of the citizens themselves. So if we say international law should become less Western and it should reflect more of our interests, and we need to engage with it, even if that engagement is to criticize it or to highlight its weaknesses. Now let me turn to my second point, the point for which I was invited to speak here. International humanitarian law, or IHL. Chantal sort of talked about it briefly in different ways. IHL, largely what it does, it governs the conduct of hostilities. So violence and war is regulated by humanitarian law. Even though the name humanitarian suggests something else, it does not prohibit war as such. Rather, it regulates how war is fought. In that sense, it is not entirely unfamiliar to us. Many religious and ethical traditions also articulate rules limiting violence during conflict. The central purpose of IHL is to protect persons who are not or no longer directly participating in hostilities. So civilians, the injured, the sick, the detainees, and prisoners. It also defines the rights and obligations of parties to a conflict in the conduct of hostilities. Of course, the goal here is not to legitimize or validate such violence, but to place limits on it, to basically draw some red lines, that what is acceptable and what is absolutely forbidden categorically. And what is important to realize here is that what kind of rules are applicable under humanitarian law depends on how a conflict is classified. So IHL recognizes two kinds of armed conflicts broadly. International armed conflicts, which occur between two states, very straightforward, and non-international armed conflicts, which occur between a state and an organized armed group. And this brings us to an important legal question. Like, can any form of internal violence within a state amount to an armed conflict, such that then the rules of international humanitarian law will apply? There are two criteria for classifying internal violence as a non-international armed conflict. Firstly, it's the intensity and duration of the violence. So relevant factors in assessing if the intensity and duration has reached a certain threshold, they can include the number of casualties, the nature of weapons used, the involvement of state armed forces rather than police, and the geographic spread of hostilities. If it reaches above a threshold that suggests that it is not isolated or episodic violence, which, Latika, as you mentioned in your introduction, and if there's sustained fighting over a long duration, one can argue that that criteria has been met. Secondly, there's the level of organization of the armed group. So sporadic, spontaneous violence by an unorganized armed group or mob does not suffice for internal violence to be classified as an armed conflict. There must be a degree of organization within the armed group against the state. So that may have a command structure or the capacity to carry out sustained military operations. Indicators of such organization include internal discipline, specialized roles within the group, training, procurement and distribution of arms, and sort of formal engagement with third parties, so external actors. The classification of a situation as a non-international armed conflict is not merely symbolic. It can have concrete legal and political consequences. It supplements in some respects, so legally, it supplements and in some respects even changes the obligations of the involved parties beyond what the domestic constitutional frameworks alone can provide. For instance, let's take the example of Indian Constitution under Article 21, that article may be able to capture certain aspects of right to life and dignity, but IHL framework introduces more specific protections and constraints on how that conduct is carried out, when somebody can be targeted and when cannot be. And one key distinction between what is now being termed as a counterinsurgency operation and what would otherwise be an IHL framework, an armed conflict framework, it concerns how legitimacy is treated. So under the constitutional or sort of under the usual counterinsurgency framework, armed groups such as Maoists are viewed as solely as criminal actors, threatening public order and national integrity. This approach assumes the legitimacy of state action and often grants a large amount of discretion in the hands of the state in how it decides to respond to that violence. And usually excessive violence against civilians and other forms of unlawful conduct in that case, and that gets justified because it was for the goal of counterinsurgency. Sorry. Now it has been 20 years since the state-sponsored and later banned Salwa Judum began in Bastar, resulting in large-scale killings, village burning, sexual violence, displacement, starvation. And since then, the region has experienced successive security operations, including Operation Green Hunt and more recently Operation Kagar. Since 2024, over 400 people have been reportedly killed. And while official figures classify most as Maoists, there is substantial evidence based on civil society reports that civilians have been disproportionately affected. Independent estimates between 2018 and 2022 indicate that civilian deaths exceeded those of both security personnel and Maoist cadres. So in 2024, several incidents involved the killing of children even, and 2025 as well. So arrest and surrender figures over the last 25 years reflect the scale and persistence of the conflict. And I'm quoting these numbers from various civil society reports, including the most recent PUCL one. And if civilians are being killed in numbers that exceed both security personnel and armed cadres, as these reports suggest, this raises a direct question under IHL, and that's the principle of distinction, which requires parties of a conflict to distinguish at all times between who's a civilian and not taking part in hostility and those who are directly participating. And it is forbidden and prohibited to attack somebody who is not actively, who is a military threat at the time. So from an IHL perspective, these have specific implications. Like this conduct would be considered a violation of this duty to protect civilians, collective punishment, including the burning of villages, punishment based on perceived association and sympathy to the group, which we are seeing a lot of reports of. That is prohibited. Torture and sexual violence is categorically forbidden. These rules apply to state forces. And at the same time, I should note that IHL obligations bind both parties or all parties to the conflict. So it's not just the states. Armed groups are also equally prohibited from targeting civilians, from using indiscriminate weapons such as IEDs, and conducting summary executions through so-called Jan Adalats. It is also important to clarify a common misunderstanding that the classification of a situation as a non-international armed conflict does not amount to political recognition of an armed group, nor does it endorse its ideology or objectives. Framing this as an armed conflict instead of a counterinsurgency operation is not about giving legitimacy or deciding who's wrong or right. Its main concern is protecting those who are not taking part in hostilities and triggering a minimum level, a bare minimum level of humanitarian guarantees. So if we establish that, then what does this classification mean for civil society? And that's, I think I'm already anticipating the question that was asked to Chantal. Like, if we frame this as a non-international armed conflict instead of a local law and order problem, then what? What changes for us? I have 3 or 4 responses to that. First, it changes legal questions we are able to ask. Instead of only asking whether the state acted within its powers to maintain public order, whatever that may be, we are able to ask whether conduct of hostilities complied with the rules of distinction. So, distinction between those taking part in hostilities and those not, proportionality. So, whether the military objective that was being achieved was it proportion, and the amount of harm that was caused, was it proportionate to that objective? And precaution, were enough precautionary measures taken to prevent that harm to civilians and other violations? So these are relatively stricter standards which are specifically designed to protect civilians. Secondly, it activates binding legal obligations on all parties. So, as Chantal mentioned already about the Geneva Convention, so under Common Article 3 of the Geneva Conventions, there are minimum humanitarian guarantees that apply irrespective of whether the state formally acknowledges the conflict. From a legal standpoint, this matters because these violations are no longer framed as excesses or oversight or mistake, but as breaches of established international obligations, which can then give rise to different kinds of demands of accountability, for example, on grounds of war crimes. Thirdly, it matters how civil society documents harm. When civilian deaths, displacements, sexual violence, or destruction of villages are recorded using IHL categories or international human rights or criminal law categories, that documentation becomes legally legible. It allows harm to be assessed in terms of prohibited conduct, what is prohibited and what's allowed, and when the line is being crossed, rather than something that was an unfortunate collateral damage to a larger operation. Fourthly, it alters how state narratives can be scrutinized. Claims that all those killed were militants or that operations were necessary for security, they are no longer then sufficient on their own. They must be assessed against legal rules governing targeting civilian population. So, understanding the situation through an IHL framework does not resolve the conflict, but it does clarify obligations. It helps identify excessive violence and provides a legal vocabulary through which violations can be documented and accountability can be demanded. And I will stop with just one last sentence. It can also, I think, potentially change the terrain in which this conversation takes place. So instead of framing it as a law and order problem, then whose only solution, according to the state, is eliminating those engaged in a fight. If the situation is forced to be framed as an armed conflict or a conflict between 2 parties, then we give rise to the possibility that political solutions can be achieved through negotiations as well. I'll stop there and look forward to the questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kalika. Really, really appreciate your coming on and helping us understand this. It was really rigorous. It was very lucid as well. So thank you so much. And it really has clarified how the legal qualification of this thing called non-international armed conflict rests on objective criteria, and particularly the intensity of violence and the level of organization of parties involved, rather than just on a state's political characterization of the situation. And as you've said, but that this classification is also consequential, it's not descriptive. And once the threshold for maybe this categorization as an NIAC is met, then international humanitarian law applies, and certainly triggering concrete obligations regarding the conduct of hostilities and the protection of civilians is all then very much on board. So this is really, really important for us and in our series and for our understanding in determining as to how should we look at a situation like Bastar. And I mean, we all hear about these words, NIAC and all, and I mean, but to understand, should it be legally classified? What obligation flows from this? That's really, you've given us a lot to think about. So thank you once again. Yeah, there are so many questions, but let me try. If we try to prosecute the paramilitary officers under a domestic law, such as the SCST, Prevention of Atrocities Act, it means we are constructing the violence as atrocity, not as international as NIAC. Does that mean that if we try to frame the violence as NIAC, do we have to forego any legal routes so we take under domestic law, like the SCST, Prevention of Atrocities Act? So,
I think both regimes can coexist, and especially because the state is not recognizing this as a non-international armed conflict. So that doesn't foreclose any possibility of framing it, of invoking sort of domestic laws. This, I would say, depending on obviously what the violations are, uh, one can
Yes.
sort of.
Sorry, can I just jump in here
yeah,
and
yeah.
because in your presentation, Kanika, you were saying that, like if we frame it as a law and order issue, then like it doesn't get framed into a non-international armed conflict. So I was thinking, can the other party, if I, say I'm the devil's advocate, so like can the other party then say that, this rationale can also be applied if I'm framing, the violence as atrocity, then I cannot frame the violence as like NIAC. Does that make sense to you?
No, it makes absolute sense, and thank you for pointing it out. It allows me to clarify myself, and it's something I should have done that before. It is a real risk that you're identifying. International humanitarian law can be misused. States may invoke this language of armed conflict if the state were to change its mind and invoke this language to normalize sort of prolonged militarization and to justify exceptional measures, and maybe also to displace some of the constitutional safeguards, including this. So but I guess the underlying that would be an invocation and a misuse, but it should not. Ideally, this classification should not result in fewer protections, but in more strict sort of scrutiny of the state conduct. And it does not supplement or does not like it does not displace, it supplements the Constitution and human rights guarantees that we have.
Thank you so much. And yeah, a huge thanks. And we'll end here. But before we leave, I just want to reiterate why we are doing this series. It's not being run merely to impart information, but as we've discussed, how we can even use all this as part of civil society in ways that might help in the future, and also to resist the silence around what is unfolding in Bastar and to insist that the situation demands public attention and response in ways that, yeah, we can also include all these, language which is at the moment missing in Indian law as well. So we will ask you, the audience, to speak about Bastar and to challenge the narrative of the so-called 2026 deadline, to question the refusal of the Indian state to acknowledge or take responsibility for what is being done in the name of counterinsurgency. Organize where you are, speak about this wherever you can. And this series is one such effort to keep attention focused. It's not the only one. To make visible what the Indian state has worked hard to render visible or recast through propaganda, and to build solidarity, most importantly, build solidarity with the struggles of the Adivasi indigenous peoples communities while continuing to face sustained violence. We will announce the next webinar in the series shortly, and we hope that you will stay engaged. For now, thank you everyone for joining us, and our sincere thanks to Chantal, who's left, and Kalika for your time, your contribution, and your insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Latika, for the invitation. Thank you.